Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Generalist and Specialist right podcast for creatives. The last thing I said, this is part two of the creative identity, and right. So the last thing I said in the last live stream, I think where I ended was talking about learning various creative skills at the same time and seeing if it will play out well for you as a creative. Um, so, like I said, while I was learning mine, I was not at that point in time. I was not the type of person that was. I was the type of person that was spontaneous rather with my daily activities. So, I think if you are going to consider having multiple creative niche and you are going to stick to it, then I think you must be the type of person that must have a certain amount of time, right? A certain amount of time that can be dedicated to it, right? For consistency issue and helping you to focus more on the creative journey, right? But my advice to anybody just starting in the creative space, right, would be to pick one particular creative niche. I know we all want to do everything, and it's nice to learn multiple things, right? Have an idea of every aspect of creativity. But the best thing or the best option rather would be to pick one particular thing and then focus on it and build your creative identity on it. Like I said in the last live stream, right? You can, I think now it's much easier for people to start their creative journey, right? And in the process of starting their creative journey, also build a creative identity. There's something that's trending now, which is build in public, right? So I think it applies to creatives too, right? Your mistakes can be corrected, or mm, you can see things from a different perspective, basically. So I think that's one thing that can help you in your creative identity. Another thing about establishing your creative identity that you might want to look towards is consistency, right? So consistency plays a very big role, right? Because you want to be always on people's mind. You want to be always on their mind. Like the first thing they think about when they say, "Oh, graphic design," is your name, social media, your name, video editing, your name. So you want to establish this. You want to constantly establish that identity in their mind, right? You want to constantly be in their lips, right? So you would have to constantly be in their face, right? There's this quote that says, oh, I can't remember the quote now, but it has something to do with, okay, yes, far from sight, out of mind. And it's basically how things actually go, right? If the person doesn't see that you are still doing this thing, then they won't always remember that you do these things, right? Until they have to like critically think about it. But most times, you always being in their face, and I'm not saying that you should like be in their face. What I mean by that is that do the bare minimum, right? Have an active social media account that is showcasing your skill. Then there are platforms for specific creatives, right? There, I think if you belong to a particular creative niche, then you should be on this particular creative space, right? Get into those spaces, right? Get into those communities, right? Your WhatsApp status, right? Should always highlight your creativity. Basically, you should be posting contents that you create, designs that you do, social media tips, all those things. It makes you remembered, right? And you always want to be remembered. Those people that are remembered are the ones that actually earn. So if you are shy or you feel somehow, you kind of don't, how do I put it? If you're the type of person that is camera shy, I'm camera shy, but I had to overcome it to do live stream. But if you're the type of person that is far from people's sights, right? People do not always remember, or people do not always get to see the things you create, then there's the most likelihood that people will forget that you create these things, right? So consistency helps in creative identity, right? And consistency doesn't always have to be, someone told me, consistency doesn't always have to be every day, but very often, right? Which simply means it could be 3 times a week, once a week, 2 times a week, but constantly hammer on what you do, right? Like I said earlier, creative identity is the is the starting ground for every creative. If you don't have a well-defined creative identity, right, then most people would be confused, and then you should not exactly blame yourself, or you should not exactly blame people for not knowing what you do, right? Because you never really established that identity, right? So let people know this is what you do. Let your social media page know that this, identify that this is what you do, right? So another issue I have with creative identity is balancing social media presence. Most people want to post their graphics online on their social media pages, and they also want to post personal things, right? Then it's totally dependent on you. That's totally dependent on you, right? You can decide to use your personal page and still post your professional post, and I think that's what every creative should do. uh, I don't see the need of opening multiple Instagram accounts, because I can tell you for a fact that it's very, very stressful handling multiple Instagram accounts. Or else you are getting a social media manager, right? Then you have that option. But I think you using your personal page makes it highlight the fact that your creativity is a huge part of your life, right? And then putting a face to the brand makes it people for easier for people to actually trust the brand or trust the creative, right? So one is it highlights that that aspect of creativity is a huge part of you, right? It's a huge part of your life, and then it also builds trust with audience. Yeah. So I really don't see the need of opening multiple Instagram accounts. Stop stressing us. But if you want to open an extra Instagram account because you want your page to be more aligned, you should be ready to put in the work. Right. So my advice is basically don't open another Instagram account if you would not be consistent in maintaining the two Instagram accounts, right? Because then just delete your personal one if you're not going to be consistent. But okay, that's it. But like I said, get into those communities, be consistent, and yeah, I think that's it. So thank you so much for your time. Um, I hope we meet again very soon. Yeah, yeah, I think this is something I want to be consistent with. So yeah, good, wonderful day. Bye. Thank you so much for joining.